Year 5 class teacher Tracy Stewart has just taught a lesson on electricity. She discusses with 2 colleagues how to make this area of the curriculum even more engaging for her pupils.
Electricity is quite a simple context. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, putting things together. And I think it's problem solving. And I think we as teachers have to think differently about how we can get different contexts for applying electricity in their learning.
And I've seen examples in the past of people using an electric circuit to create a lighthouse, or getting complicated circuits and maybe doing traffic lights with different switches. But once you make it real, then you get that level of enthusiasm from the children, because you get more success and they can see that something's happening rather than just a bulb. And what I liked about your lesson was you were brave enough to have the buzzers and to have the ear rake and to think, oh, I'm going to do it, because they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I know at first, you know, people do think, I'll do it with bulbs. But to do it with the buzzers made it different, and it gave them back some enthusiasm as well.
Yes. Then, if they join, they'll make the buzzers sound.
As science coordinator, what issues are there relating to electricity that you think you've overcome?
The issues classically are making sure that all the different components work. So I'm sure it's the same in every school, where you've got batteries that don't work, bulbs that don't work, buzzers that don't work. And so at the start of a lesson as a teacher, you don't want to come and find that it's not the lesson that you're teaching that doesn't work, it's the equipment you're using that makes it difficult. So what we did for this lesson was we created some electricity toolboxes, and part of Tracy's work prior to the lesson was to make sure that all the different components did work so that the children could be successful, and she could see whether it was a concept they didn't know, not that parts of the equipment didn't work properly.
So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is have a look in your electrician's toolkit.
I love the way that you put the lesson in context at the start, and you just got all the children's attention, had them all together, and then obviously they couldn't wait to get their hands onto the toolbox. And I think that's something that we can learn from foundation stage, where the children need to explore, they need to play with things, and they think they're playing, but actually you're analysing their scientific knowledge, how quickly can they make a circuit. You're finding out so much more than just letting them play with the toolbox, aren't you?
Yeah, because they want to make something work with the electricity, so they take it out and make a circuit work straight away.
And immediately you can look at your class and see if there's anyone in the class who's actually struggling a little bit.
Yeah, doesn't know what to do with it, yeah.
And in fact, that 1 minute of those children exploring means you can go straight into your main activity, and you don't have to spend 15 minutes with them just talking. Oh, it's brilliant.
So everybody's ready for their first task. So when I say go, I've put the timer up on the board. You've got 2 minutes. We need a circuit that will power a light bulb. So
Interestingly, on using the timer, that actually makes children manage their time themselves. So they keep looking, thinking, I've got this much time, I've got to finish that. And that's a very, very good approach in science. And what we have to remember is we're not only teaching scientific knowledge, we're teaching scientific ways of working, and they require personal capabilities. Yours is a really good lesson, and it'd be really good to share what you think made that lesson so good from your point of view.
For me, I think the most important part of that was that the children could see how the science they'd learnt could be applied in the real world. So it was kind of open-ended. They take it at their own level and take it as far as their ability allows them to.
I think it worked particularly well because of the toolbox as well. I think allowing the children to have that many options immediately in front of them without having to go and get them from a corner or a shelf, or without having to wait and see what other groups are doing. And it made each group independent, and therefore more opportunities for each group to go off on their own tangent, because they've all got more options than you could even imagine they could use, but they still find a way to do it, don't they?
Yeah. And for me, it was the timing. You didn't just say, go and get on with it. You said, you've got so much time to do it. And they rise to that challenge, and that makes them really focus and stay on task. But it also means that because you've used up less of the lesson, but actually got a better product from the children in terms of their thinking, the way they work, and the outcome, is that you can actually do more with science. And when you think about it, there's really not a lot to teach about electricity. So we could spend the majority of the topic doing fabulous problem-solving activities in different contexts, exactly what you were saying, and it'll be a far richer and better experience for the children.